Alright, in this video we'll show how to use Leica's iCON site software to create some offset points for, say, a structure. In this example, a storm drain line with a structure. We want to offset this end structure here, let's say 10 feet out, 20 feet out, with some points in line with the storm drain line. So here you see in my stakeout screen I've got a storm drain line, and I want to create those 2 points. I'm going to go first to my home screen and then to the sketching app, which is an app where you can create line work and points, and you have lots of different options here, but the one we're going to show is how to offset points. So it says select a starting point. The first thing we have to do is establish the orientation or the bearing of the direction of the points. So I'm going to pick the first west point and I'm going to point it toward the east, so we can say that's the direction we want to offset the point. So I'm going to pick this point here. This brings up the point pilot, and basically you can use these directions, and you'll see down here in the settings you can pick a orientation and a distance you want to offset a point. Now to set the direction specific to that line, we'll go to the toolbox again and say rotate that point pilot, which allows us to pick a second point. You'll see the default is to point due north, but when we pick that second point, you'll see it points the direction of that line. Then we just hit the check mark to set the direction, and you'll see the point pilot rotates to that direction, and it's going to offset at the distance and the number of points that you pick. Now we actually wanted it to go from the other end instead of this end, so we'll pick toolbox, say change starting point. We'll pick that end point there, so now we're going in the right direction and at the right location. We just now need to set the distance, so we'll back this up and say here we want to go 10 feet off, and then we can also set the number of points. So right now it just says 1 point. We'll pick that, back that out and say we want 2 points, one at 10, one at 20. If you select this button here, that's just saying it's going to draw a line between the points. If you don't want a line, you just uncheck that and it'll create the points. So once we hit the check mark, it creates those 2 offset points, and I had coded them 10-foot offset, so I had picked this point, pick it from my codes, toolbox new if I don't have the code that I wanted. So that's how you create the points that you want. Then we would just go to stakeout and stake those points out just like we would any other point. The other options you see here in sketching are to create points and lines, arcs and circles, offset lines. Point creation basically brings up a bunch of snap options. As you change this, your toolbox changes to that particular set of tools. So like we, for example, create intersection points, bearing distances, distances, and so forth. And then, if we pick arcs, we've got here our circle options and radius points. And then we've got points and lines, which is what we were working in. So we can go do things like connecting points, joining lines, and such. So to go back to stakeout, we would just hit the home button, stakeout, pick that point. When we get close to it, we get our bullseye. When we get close enough we think we're on, we hit measure, and it actually creates a stakeout point there. So we have another measured point that's the exact location that we staked out, and it's green because we are in tolerance. It would be yellow or red if it was out of tolerance. Alright, that's it for this video.